We are live. Welcome to my thoughts on Arrow Season 1, Episode 22, Darkness on the Edge of Town. The episode is rated TV 14, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for the episode, as well as the ones leading up to it. Yeah, another episode I loved. Holy crap, I can hardly wait. I'm glad I feel bad for people who, if you watched this originally, I'm pretty sure you had to wait like a week. I don't think this was one of the cases where they aired them on the same evening. I'm watching the finale tomorrow, so that's, holy crap. Okay, yes, so, some general stuff. Yeah, we get some more, yeah, Oliver is getting back together with Laurel, and, yeah, unfortunately, Merlin Jr. knows. How's the peeping, Tommy? Tommy, how's the peeping? And yeah, Walter is divorcing Moira because he put two and two together. And Thea leaves Roy. So yeah, some really major events that really changed the various relationships and such. Really appreciate that. And with that, let's get chronological. So, gonna try as much as I can chronological. Let's see. I thought they did a really great job. There at the start, I genuinely didn't quite know where the scene was going until I saw, Dark Archer, Black Arrow. I forget. I think I found out what he's called, and then I forgot. Because it's just he's asking her out for drinks, and she says, "How about two drinks?" Um, Meanwhile, Mr. Merlin is over there saying, "Two drinks, that's too many." Yeah. And then a vampire wakes up and starts biting one of the two, which I thought was very it was a very surprising, unexpected surprise. That's the line. But yeah, and of course he, it's that Markov even says, "We did everything Mr. Merlin asked," and Dark Arrow just says, "And he thanks you for your service." Is and that is the thing. In some ways, Mr. Merlin is very much, a fascist. The whole idea of, let's kill a bunch of, minorities, and that'll make the world a better place. I'm not saying it's only fascists who come up with that sort of idea, but it's pretty popular with them. Rates very high, very consistently in the polling. And another thing about, fascism, it's not really a meritocracy. You can do everything perfect, and as soon as they don't need you anymore, you might be tossed out, and that's what we're seeing here. Like, they literally, he's they're being punished for doing their job perfectly. Like, hypothetically, if they had been like, "Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Merlin, we just can't weaponize this thing." Or wait, were they the ones who weaponized it, or was that the other? Moira said our company weaponized, whatever. Yeah, if they had said we just can't do it, like, would he have any reason to get? I don't know. I suppose it's possible he would kill them for failing. Fascism does like to kill people, including people who used to work for it. Yeah, a lot of reasons not to support fascism. That's just one of many. I just earlier today watched Renegade Cut's video, I Heart Sabotage. Sabotage? I think that's what that game's called. Sabotage. And in that, it's an excellent video, as his videos tend to be amazing. He called the Nazis history's biggest losers, which, I mean, please show me where that is an incorrect statement. Like, that's the thing that neo-Nazis always forget. Like, literally, who's been more like of an abject failure as like as ideologies and like groups that really thought they were gonna win go. Holy crap. Um, yeah, I think that is everything. Oh my! I was so hoping that Miss Two Drinks and the guy would escape, but yeah, he fires. I like the bit where he misses one of the guards. Also very, it's credible. I mean, they're guards. They have a certain amount of training, but then he just fires an arrow over to the electrical thingy and makes that blow up, so they get knocked out by that. And yeah, he takes out the thing, which triggers the automatic electronic lock, and then he shoots them. Like, holy crap. Um, I think, yeah. No, that can't be the next line. Scene. While I think, I'll briefly note there was a deleted scene for the episode before this one on the uh, uh, Blu-ray. I don't think it's DVD. Anyway, the disc. Um, in the episode itself, in the flashback, there's the thing about your mom. There's the line, "Your mom busted me last time." The deleted scene actually shows that, and apparently, Moira insisted that Thea go to dressage, which I appreciate is one of the fancy things that rich people do when their monocles aren't popping out. And apparently, she's like, "Oh, that horse hates me. Maybe it's because you cancel on it all the time." Um, I think that pretty well covers. Right, there was also a deleted scene for the episode before this one where Oliver is like, "Oh, I'm optimistic about Walter. Things might change soon." I guess that's after he found out that they knew where Walter was being kept and before he freed him. Yeah, sometimes it's not a huge loss to have a. It wasn't really necessary to have that deleted scene. I mean, it was obvious he was going to make a rescue attempt, and was probably pretty optimistic about the odds. Yeah. Let's see. That brings us. Yeah, I do not remember what the last. I guess I'll. Oh right, I think maybe the next scene was the yeah. So Walter comes home and he won't kiss Moira on the lips. Lets her kiss his cheek, and then says he's tired and he wants to go. I'm gonna go lie down. And I thought they did a really good job of like, cause like we can tell there's something off, and yeah. Ultimately, it was yes. I should have guessed that about the divorce and him guessing that she was involved in the kidnapping, but yeah, it's still. I don't want them to divorce, but yeah, I thought they did a really good job of like there's we can tell from early on there's something going on with him. There's some coldness and some distance, and like essentially the Queen family are a little bit in denial about they just want him to be safe, happy, back with Moira. Yeah, and so Roy. Oh right, okay. I gotta talk about. So thankfully we don't have to see them take arrows, but Miss Two Drink Minimum. She's screaming as the arrow is pointed, the bow is drawn, and then there's a cut to him driving away, and they do this wonderful audio match cut where her scream turns into like the sound the car makes, like just fantastic. Um, yeah, love that bit of craftsmanship film making. Yeah. Uh, yes. So the yeah, Roy, sends you know a message to Thea, um, meet me tonight. And yeah, turns out that was the. Oh right, there's the other thing about that scene. So yeah, the cops realize, okay, this is definitely the copycat again. Good thing they have color coded arrows, and they know they don't really know what. Yeah, um, it's a difficult case to crack. Um, and yeah, she's like, when I my idea of being in a car with you was very different in my head. And yeah, he's taking pictures, and then well, we're not really learning anything. Do you still work at CNRI? She really does go above and beyond for him. That could get her in trouble. I mean, yeah. I guess after he drove her home, he dumped the GTA, and he, I guess, forges a judge's signature, which, like, oh boy, I don't think you're supposed to do that. I think that might be one of those things there's a very severe penalty for if you get caught. And I don't know. I mean, if that guy memorized her face and was like, "Hey, what happened with the?" She never picked up the, or I guess it's possible she stayed until it was done and picked it up. But in case there's follow up, or someone contacts that judge for some reason and asks about that. Um, and yeah, she's like, okay, so the yeah, all of those arrest warrants, like, holy crap. But she does find out, the thing about the connection to um, Merlin um, Industries, I think it's called, his yeah, workplace. And yeah, like, it genuinely is, they're gonna go there and just, like, hope that something falls into their lap. Like, this is, yeah, you're gonna have to be extremely lucky for that to happen. I think, yeah. So um it was so clever, the thing about, yeah, so there's the thing about, he has to, I have to talk to my mother again. Well, last time talked to her, last time the vigilante paid a visit to Moira Queen, I got to play doctor with you. My brain always thinks of the worst way to say things. See, that perfectly sums up her character. I feel like that's probably what was written on the sheet for just character description. Yeah, and yeah. Let's see. Then we have the yeah. It's very clever because, like, you know yeah. At first it looks like, oh, I guess he's just gonna confront her as himself. Um, and then they both get knocked out, and yeah, like, at first I'm thinking, did Black Arrow, is this like, because we are, it's such a great misdirect, because he's already been, like, taking care of loose ends, like, I already mentioned, I'm actually not sure if he knows that Walter was undisappeared, I guess, unkidnapped. Because, like, if he found that out, he might confront Moira about it. Um, and yeah, very clever to have Dig pose as the vigilante and then threaten Oliver. Because what did she say when the vigilante confronted her? She said, "I'm worried about my children." She didn't, plead for her own life. Let's see. I think, what did she say? Something like, "Please don't take me away from my children." Something along those lines. She was focused on them. So yeah, if he's punching Oliver, makes sense. And yeah, it's very clever because, like, let's see, he used those small arrows. I'm not 100% sure if those are like thrown, or if there's like a tiny little launching thing, but certainly it's not the same as, I can buy that they're easier to deal with than the full-on arrow. He doesn't fire a full-on arrow because that still is like, it takes a while to get really, really good at, to be accurate with one of those things. Yeah. Ultimately, she gives up the information, and yeah, Dig cuts them loose, and yeah, it's such a clever way. And now Oliver has heard. Dig doesn't even have to repeat what he heard her say. Let's see. I think that brings us. So yeah, they talk about hacking, Merlin Industries, and then we have the thing about the yeah, it's she has that wonderful line about how it's impossible, and Dig's is like, just say you can't do it. And yeah, she says something like, you know what? When I do it, I'm gonna fist bump and go yes. And then she later does, and catches herself doing it and self-conscious. Let's see. I think what was the other thing? Yeah. Laurel. It's not even 7 a.m. That's right before closing time, isn't it? And yeah, she points out, so you still love me, and he's like, I didn't, it wasn't with an agenda. And that, I also thought they did a really good job of again, like, sprinkling it in over the course of the episode, because you do need to build up to that, because there's that line about, we've been doing this dance since I came back, so yeah, you gotta have a few more steps in that dance before, I don't know what the climax of a dance is called, but yeah. And then we have the yeah, so they talk about, it's impossible to hack into Merlin Industries. I would have to be right there. Then let's get you right there. And then we get like such an awesome, like, straight up heist. It was so good. Right, and I like I thought you were gonna pull your punches. I'm gonna get you some ice for everything. And that was also great, Dig, like, the look between Dig and Oliver. Like, Oliver's like, yeah, go ahead. And that was also like, holy crap, she meant it. She genuinely is so worried about Oliver being hurt. And she really didn't want, like, it was just because yeah, I forget if it's Robert or Roger, but yeah, Mr. Queen, Oliver's dad, got involved without her knowing, and now she had to take over, and just, yeah. And that is like, sadly in real life, happens. So it's good to explore in fiction. Sometimes men will do something horrible, and it affects their partner in a really, really awful way. I thought the movie Widows also did a really great job of exploring that. Um, and yeah. One example is getting into debt. Um, like, and I don't mean like medical debt. You can't, that's foisted upon you. I mean like gambling or something. Which, like, listen, I get gambling. It's not. There's a uh, gambling addiction, I think it might be called, but you certainly know what I'm talking about. I appreciate that is something that actually has to be treated, but you do also have to want it. You have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to stop and I'm going to go get treatment instead of gambling. Let's see. I think that does bring us. So yeah, the heist. So yeah, Oliver comes in and, like, I have a meeting with Tommy Merlin. 11:30, and hands over the thing, and then she shows up. Big Kahuna Burger for Mr. Andrews, and is that you go up, you can wait, and he calls it. So lunch for the new guy, and yeah, it's new guy. You order something, and Dig steps into frame. Yep, I'm absolutely addicted. You gotta try some. It's laced with benzo, but I swear, as soon as you wake up, you're gonna be, that is a tasty burger. Just, yeah, wonderfully the way that, the way they'll just step into frame, and we're like, oh, I think okay, I'm starting to piece together what's going on, and yeah, if you're doing a proper heist today, you gotta have an Inside Man, which is a really good movie too. I am definitely doing a video on Inside Man at some point. But the yeah, you have the and yeah, Queen is Oliver is there as himself. And, yeah. So technically, in a way, undercover. Although as soon as he sees Tommy, he can drop the act. But then, yeah, this thing of like, bringing food in, and she just needs access to the building, because if she, no matter how confidently she strode along, if she did just walk right, and yeah, thinking about it, the elevator was that. No, I guess it's just because she had, she had a reason for being in the building. If she strode past the security guy, yeah, everyone in the building, every security officer in the building is going to be looking for her. So they have to make sure she has a very, very clever, and taking out the other, what's the word, the other security guard inside the security office, so the Dig has complete freedom in there. Very clever, and yeah, I listen. If a coworker of mine was like, you gotta try this fast food, I am addicted to it, yeah, I'm gonna try it. Like, that's too good to pass up, yeah, so they get, this is that thing about, they have to get to the was it the 25th floor, and so the elevator that they're in only goes to the 20, well, oh wait, didn't they say 19th? Whatever, I'm thinking they went to 24, but she claimed it was 19th. That was also like, so they're she oh, hold the door, I mean, and she just like pounds the yeah, what's it called, the door close button, but he gets there just in time, and so Oliver knocks his stuff away, so he has to go pick it up. That was very like, okay, I don't know, maybe Oliver was like a bully in high school or something, like knocking away the other person's stuff, like, wow. But yeah, can't argue with the results. So they get to the 24th floor, and then they have to climb out of the elevator. Bonus points for reminding me of the fact that that you can climb out the top of an elevator, and that can be very beneficial in Hitman Blood Money. And love the I mean, I don't know if it's a New Hope reference, but that's the first thing I thought of with the swinging. Oh, I guess it could also be, didn't Indiana Jones also do that? Yeah. And the thing about, this was not the, how I had thought that you would hold me tight. I mean that in a platonic way. And yeah, the thing about, I should probably mention I'm afraid of heights, something I realized just now. Don't Look Down. That movie. Oh, hold on. I always forget. I think is it Don't Look Now or Don't Look Down? I can never remember. The Nicholas Rogue movie is great, but the other one, which I think was like supposedly connected to Wes Craven, but which is why I watched it. Mustache Dad is in it. But yeah, that movie is not the best. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she, they swing over and go through the door and look like they belong. Just very, very nicely done there. Yeah. And the thing about, okay, so there's a 10-minute rotation. I'll be back in 9. And so he goes to talk to Tommy, and yeah, Tommy's saying, you're a serial killer whilst working for, yeah, not very long after Mr. Merlin, speaking of serial killers, he's like, I'll walk you to the lobby. But yeah, and they even, why so serious? Wow. Let's see. I guess Oliver could. He likes getting shirtless. He could, get shirtless and say, "You want to know how I got these scars?" Although I guess Tommy does. Well, no. I mean, he does know the details, just that it's island related. But yeah, I really appreciated him saying, Laurel's not a prize. She's her own person. She made a decision. She chose you. And of course, then he goes and spoils it all by doing something silly like get back together with her, which Tommy sees. Yeah. Definitely thinking that there's some chance that he, in the not too distant future, is gonna go, like, villain kind of. Like, because, like, if he. What might he do to stop the serial killer Oliver? Let's see. I think does that. Yeah, so the thing about, so she's not quite done with the download, just a few more seconds. You don't have a few more seconds. And, the radio, Oliver, she's, the security's gonna find her. And obviously, it's not like Oliver can say anything to that because there's people around, just, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll intercept, don't worry. And, yeah. Mr. Merlin is right there, and yeah, really, really nicely done. It's so, and Dig to the rescue, not for the first time, might not be the last time, and yeah, Felicity doesn't quite get out before one of the security guards shows up and is like, "You're not supposed to be here. Show me some ID." And yeah, I think at that point it is a little like she could try the I got lost looking for the bathroom gambit, but I don't think it's gonna work at this point. And yeah, Dig goes up here is like, I've been looking for her. She evaded security. One of Merlin Jr.'s, yeah, he slept with her, and now she, but yeah, now she keeps coming to see him, and like I love that, there's Felicity gives Dig this look that's like, really, that's what I'm, but she does get into it, and then I love him. That's amazing. Follow me, Barbie. Your last name isn't gonna be Merlin. Just, yeah, amazing. And he's like, you're my knight in shining armor. She is one of my favorite characters on this show so far. Holy crap. And then, oh yeah, by the way, I also set up a Trojan just in case. And Oliver, I like that a little bit where he sees Felicity leave, so he knows, okay, it worked out. But before he leaves the building, Thea, which is also, she also slows him down. And there's the thing about, I gotta go out. I don't want to be late, but I thought you just came down from it. It's like, yeah, what is he gonna say? And then he's like, is that your friend Roy? No. I mean, I guess it was worth a shot. And he goes up, Roy. And actually, he grabs Thea by the arm to make sure, this is something she should hear as well. Yeah, Roy, we haven't met. I'm the disapproving older brother, and he, just freaking. Roy is extremely fortunate that this is not like someone with actual super strength, because he wouldn't have a hand left. Like, it would be like limp, piece of rubber looking thing. But yeah, he applies as much pressure as he can. Really great acting, because that's one of those things. In real life, obviously, the actor is not squeezing the other actor's hand extremely hard, but the face, the look on Roy's face is like, oh, please let go, and yeah, it's very clever. He really does sometimes think fast. Um, Now I've got that song stuck in my head. Uh, there's worse songs to have stuck in your head. I don't know. Sometimes I do still listen to Crazy Town. What can I say? There's like 5 or 6 really, really catchy songs on the Gift of Game. Why do I remember that? If I hope at some point we do get the technology to just erase certain pieces of information from our memory banks to make room for stuff we care more about. Like, holy crap. Why do I remember that album was 25 years old or something? Holy crap. Anyway, and it wasn't that good. Moving on. Todd in the Shadows, One Hit Wonderland is pretty good on them. On the now my memory fails. Butterfly, maybe? Something like that. Yeah, I think that might be it. Anyway, yeah. He says it's very credible, because he hasn't said, the people, people other than Team Arrow, when he talks about Arrow, he tends to say he disapproves of it. So yeah, it's credible, and it's this thing of on the one hand, yeah, you'd be pretty angry if the okay, yeah. So there's several things going on here. He is putting her in danger because Merlin is dangerous, and it's one of those things do Thea or Roy know that? They've heard there's some connection, but they don't necessarily know that Merlin is dangerous, But yeah, so that's one thing. I don't think he does approve of he obviously he's gonna save Roy's life. He saved his life when that was the situation, but he also doesn't want this is still a guy who a little bit struggling to make his life work, and yeah, he doesn't want Thea or Roy anywhere near you know, Arrow. So yeah, and all of it, you know, so there's certain things that he knows and we know, and then there's things that Thea and Roy know, and yeah, it's credible, and we the audience understand there's more to it than, you know, because like obviously he doesn't think that Arrow's gonna kill either of them, but he's worried about them in being in danger, maybe realizing that he's Arrow, you know. But yeah, really nicely done. And yeah, then you know Roy's still obsessed, and then he's like, oh, maybe we could do a stakeout for Vertigo Zeller, and yeah, you know, if I'll try to think of another reference for future reference, but for now, I'll say he's Graham Linehaning. You know, he's losing. Like there are things in his life that are getting worse because of his obsession, and instead of realizing that, he's just diving deeper in. You know, he's a Nolan character. There we go. He's a Christopher Nolan protagonist. I think does that pretty well bring us to the and yeah, you know, she breaks up with him. You know, if you keep down this path, you're gonna lose me. And he's like, better now than later. You know, and that says so much about like he expects. You know, he's been waiting for the other shoe to drop. He expects things to go wrong. You know, that's like, I think it's fair to say that you know, he's been pressuring her and putting her in, yeah, about this, getting her into dangerous illegal situations to meet to meet Arrow again. And yeah, like I think on some level he thinks that if he just pushes hard enough, eventually she's gonna say, you know what, I can't do this. And that's, yeah, like if he accomplishes that, then he doesn't have to worry about her leaving sometime down the line. And he also says, you know, he lost someone too, and they're not coming back, but he refuses to say who. I'm thinking later we're gonna find out. But yeah, you know, he says, I have to become like, you know, Arrow has to teach me how to be like him so that what happened won't happen again. Which, yeah, I guess it's not only Batman who has that backstory. I feel like, was there one other thing? I think that covers that scene. So yeah, Felicity talking to the others, and you know, he's like, well, we've got the we have the location for the device, and yeah, Dig goes for that, and Arrow goes for Merlin, and right. I guess I will just briefly say so. Yeah, Tommy. You know the thing about, oh great, they send us the one guy who's worked there for 30 seconds and doesn't know anything, and you know it's Tommy, and he's like, I'll help in any way I can, and you know, well, yeah, they couldn't really get any information, so he's leaving. You know, Laurel, yeah, they have this brief moment, of course, and Laurel, you know, yeah, uh, I thought it was really sweet when Quentin is like, you know, so what got between something got between the two of you. You don't have to tell me what. Because it's such a great, I love this show. Such a great little moment, because like for a second there we think, oh great, cop dad is gonna be controlling again and pressure her, you know, interrogate her or something. But then with just a few words, you know, when he says, you don't have to tell me, you know, it becomes clear, oh, it's not an interrogation. He's just saying, I'm here. I can see that there's something going on. If you want to talk to me about it, I'm here, you know. And and then she says Oliver, and he's like, wonderful. um and yeah, you know, she's like, listen, I know, I get it. You would rather drink acid than see him with me again, you know. And Quentin, showing growth, says he's changed since he got back from the island. I'll deny ever having said that. Because he, at the end of the day, he wants her to be happy, and if her happiness comes at, you know, the expense of him being deeply frustrated about her choices, then that's, you know, he can live with that. It's he just wants to see her happy, you know. It's, yeah. um I really appreciate, like, the yeah, some really, really great parents, great role models for parents on this show. uh I think I'm gonna talk about the flashbacks before I talk about the climax. So, um, right, I did also like that Walter does give Thea a hug goodbye. Um, and also the thing about, you know, divorce seems extreme. Considering what I've endured, it seems extremely restrained to me. And yeah, you know, he says that some people in captivity, you know, oh, it was the thought of being reunited with the loved ones that kept them going. I didn't have that. You know, he's really suffered for all these months. You know, all this time he was lying there thinking, I can't believe she did this to me. I trusted her, and this is how she repays me. You know. Let's see. I think, yes. So yeah, the flashbacks. So yeah, they are taken back to the camp. And I love the little bit, you know, we see them, they look at the, or at least one of them looks at directly at the missile launcher, you know. And I really appreciate it. By the end of the episode, you know, it wasn't shot down yet, so I don't know if it's possible for I mean, there's some wounds and such, and they're surrounded by people, but they also did. They were in the, he was in the process of cutting the restraints. So if he can get, you know, if he can get one of the other two free, yeah, there's a pretty decent chance. Although yeah, Shadow was definitely wounded. Yeah, holy crap. And the, yeah, you know, it's explained about, you know, breaking, shooting down a plane, you know, commercial plane. Like this, these are innocent people. It's not a military target. To destabilize the economy, and we don't see exactly who. We see a pair of legs. I suppose maybe it's someone we haven't met yet. I mean, I get. Could it be the Kelly Who character? Maybe. But yeah, we'll see. And ultimately, he does agree to give the. Understandably, you know, there's the thing about you're worth more to me alive than dead. I'll never do it. I can kill everyone you love. Holy crap. Yeah. So he agrees, and yeah, does it perfect. Unfortunately, Fireson is being a real Stanley Kubrick, so he keeps demanding takes until, you know, Faye breaks down. What is it that you want? Yeah, the He shoots him. Holy crap. Yeah. They've done such a good job. Like, when you think about it, Yao Fei has not had that much screen time. But they'll talk about him. They're like... So, Oliver wouldn't have survived very long without him. Slade says, they work together. If they can free him, they'll be that's it. They're gonna be able to find a solution here. And Shadow's his daughter. So it's genuinely I did not see it coming at all. It was such a gut punch emotionally. Just yeah. Yes. So the yeah, the thing about the bit where he says something about shooting down the plane, and then Oliver looks at the missile launcher and is like, yeah, that was what he was planning. And yeah, just really I can hardly wait to see the I'm glad I won't have to wait. I mean, it was 24 hours or something, less than that, I guess, until I get... Holy crap. Yes, the I think brings us to the yeah, Dig goes in there and opens the box and finds the machine isn't there. Somebody turned it on. And yeah, Arrow confronting, and the thing about, can I help you? Oh, I wasn't talking to you. He knew Arrow was there before Arrow did anything to identify himself. Right, also the yeah, really clever, the cutting the power, when Arrow, when Dig Arrow, yeah, kidnaps the... Right, I did also the bit where... So I am so glad to see Laurel and Oliver together. I actually don't know. I'm sure there were people like shipping them. This was definitely someone's, a significant number of people's OTP. What were they called, I wonder? A lot of the times they'll take the two names and like combine them. Laraver? All literal? I don't think it was an accident that the episode right before this one had the flashbacks where we saw them happy together before Sarah. Yeah, when he goes to her, and yeah, just the conversation, so sweet. And the thing about you're not too late, you're right on time, and it's yeah, her like on him before they even get to the bed, and the taking off the clothes. I really appreciate the way that they handle sex scenes on the show. I appreciate, okay, there's certain limits to what they can show, TV-14 and all, but so far not a single sex scene has been gratuitous, which, not always the case for these shows. Sometimes sexualization is just like, okay, that was unnecessary. That was just to... yeah, for those viewers and such. But yeah, so far I feel like every single time two characters have engaged in coitus, there has been like a story reason for it. It accomplished something, showed where these two people were in their relationship, or where they're yeah, some kind of thing like that. Like, for example, yeah, we saw Sarah in her underwear and on the bed and such. It wasn't necessary to show actual like to show them having sex, so they don't. But it is important that, for the characters, the fact that, yeah, they were, you know, they had just had sex, basically, and she's talking about, I don't like the sound of that, and he's like, who cares, which of course haunts him. He feels like maybe he could have saved her. um so yeah, I really feel like they do a solid job, because it is important here. It's, and it was with Helena, for example. um yeah, the fact that it's, because it's, what's the word, it takes the relationship to another level. So yeah. And for example, with Helena, it's the fact that it happened so fast. They jump into bed with each other like very shortly after meeting each other, because that's their relationship. So yeah. I mentioned it. There's a spark of electricity whenever the two share a scene. um, and it ends up being, dangerous and deadly. Um, where with Laurel, it's more this sweet romantic kind of love. It's less about sex. It's more the when they have sex, it's an expression of the love they feel for each other. Where with Helena, it's more this kind of animalistic attraction. They can barely, they can't even really hold back. As they have sex together as soon as they can, literally. Like, once the two of them are alone in a room that has a bed, like, yeah. um and yeah, so Oliver, let's see, yeah, he confronts Merlin, and Merlin's been taking Helena Bertinelli lessons, because he also manages to catch the arrow, which again is such a great, because like, for the entire season, for as long as we've known Merlin, Mr. Merlin, um, he doesn't really leave things up to chance. Like, if something is starting to go wrong, he's like, fix it. Yeah, of course arrow's gonna come for him eventually. So yeah, be ready. And great fight. I thought they did a really good job of, like, it's this thing of, I mean, we already knew, we were kind of hoping that he'd be able to settle it with an arrow, because that's essentially the one chance he has, and now even that's taken away. We saw when they fought the last time, Merlin's just better. There's really no two ways about it. He is a better fighter, and this time he manages to break the bow. um so yeah, now Arrow is stuck with, you know, a broken bow. Not to be confused with a broken bow, which was the not particularly good pilot of Enterprise. And yeah, I think maybe best to avoid, until you watch the episode, you have no idea if it's a bow or a bow that's been broken. And yeah, of course, Mr. Merlin wants to see who Arrow is, and he's genuinely like, oh no, when he sees, because like, he does want good things for Oliver. He doesn't, he had no idea. He just wanted, the yeah, I guess, yeah, he was one of the ones who sent the guys to interrogate. Yeah, the to or had them sent in the pilot. You know, yeah. So yeah, I really appreciate. I know, soap opera, it has such a bad name. Again, I think as long as we're engaged and it feels earned, I don't think soap opera should be a dirty word. Two words? One word hyphenated. It's two words, Larry.